Over the past few Rhino Briefs, I've taken a look at crime scenes and courtrooms. But it's the process in between that I'd like to look at. Successful prosecutions have happened even with the perpetrator long gone from the crime scene. Because something as small and as unique as a fingerprint can link a criminal to a crime act. In the next 180 seconds, I take a look at how genetic fingerprinting is helping win the war in this week's Rhino Brief.
Just like our fingerprints, our DNA is unique and can be used to identify criminals from a crime scene long after they're gone. The use of genetic fingerprints or DNA at crime scenes is relatively new. After the first successful prosecutions using DNA 3 decades ago, FBI labs started gathering DNA samples of humans into a genetic fingerprinting database called CODIS. Here in South Africa, Dr. Cindy Harper and her team at the Onderstepoort Veterinary Genetics Lab have collected nearly 14,000 rhino DNA samples in their database now called Rhodis, the Rhino DNA Index System. The Department of Environmental Affairs have made it mandatory for samples to be collected from all poached carcasses as well as any anesthetized rhinos, significantly growing the database. The database becomes game-changing whenever a rhino horn is seized, as DNA can be extracted from it to link suspects conclusively to a poaching scene. While Bonet was at the lab, several horns came in for analysis on a current poaching case. 50/50 can't divulge details for security reasons, but these horns underwent immediate extraction.
Dr. Harper, if they're not in the database, then they're from rhinos that have been killed, but the genetic samples were never collected.
That is a possibility. If the horns are very old, so prior to us starting the Rhodis database, then obviously we won't have the animals on the database. What we will be able to say is whether it's male and female or a white or black rhino, and perhaps narrow it down slightly that way, but hopefully we've had the carcasses in before.
A recent court case on which Cindy worked involved empty shopping bags seized from a suspected poaching kingpin. The horns were long gone, but there was dust at the bottom of the bags. The dust was DNA tested and matched to 2 Kruger rhino carcasses. Proof that the Rhodis database is invaluable in this fight against poaching.
Back in the late 1980s, I doubt those FBI scientific experts and special agents knew just how far-reaching this DNA database idea would go. Something that was developed for human crime has migrated so well into wildlife crime. Here in Africa, it might just save a species. And that's your Rhino Brief from the Veterinary Genetics Laboratory at Onderstepoort.